Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping Anime, and today let's talk about episode 108 of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS, entitled Indomitable Spirit. This title could reflect both duelists in this episode, as we follow on from last week's episode where Go is facing I. And in this episode we see a lot of determination from both duelists, so, their conviction doesn't waver from both sides. And overall, this duel was one of the better duels that Go has partaken in. But it still wasn't all that great for me personally. I didn't find this duel very interesting. One, because we could have guessed the outcome very, very easily. Like, it was no way that I was going to lose this early on in his villainous arc. Two, the cards revealed... I's cards were cringy but cool, and Go's cards, I just don't like the Goki archetype. So, there's that. And one thing about Go's character that I really dislike, and it really showed in this episode, is his big goofy anime eyes. Like you expect them on female anime characters, but for Go it makes him look ridiculous. And in this duel, that's all I could really see. But anyway, let's get past all that. This episode entirety was, an okay episode. Credit to Go's character for putting up a good fight against I, but again, we knew that I was going to win. The whole big gotcha moment, partway through this episode, where it looked like Go had won, was a bit too predictable, because we've seen Playmaker survive many scenarios, with 0 cards on his field, plenty of cards in his graveyard, and not a lot of cards in his hand. And, if Playmaker can do it, why can't I do the same? And in this episode, from this duel, we get a good amount of new cards revealed to us. So, let's start with the Link 4 Goki monster. So we had another one in last week's episode, or the week before, but this episode gave us Link 4 Goki, the Power Load Ogre. And other than his own, it gains 200 attack points for each link marker on your field. So in this instant, Go had another Link 4 monster, so he gained 800 attack points. And the second effect is pretty good. It can tribute another Link monster and destroy up to the same amount of cards equal to the tributed monster's Link markers. So, like in this episode, Go tributes a level 3 Thunder Ogre, therefore being able to destroy 3 cards. But as in this scene, we see Go's arrogance and kind of still a little bit childish sort of vendetta against Playmaker, because he opts to leave Dark Templar on the field, which we'll talk about in a minute, but does cost him a lot for this duel. Pretty much costs him the game, if I'm honest with you. Obviously, because Dark Templar looks like Yusaku's card, I can't remember what it's called now, Deco Talker. Another new card that basically did save I in this episode, and is the reason why, a card that helped Go lose, and Go destroyed it with his Link 4 monster's effect. And that is I Him. By banishing this card from your graveyard, you gain 200 life points for each at Ignister in your graveyard. I having 4 monsters gives him 800 life points, thus allowing him to survive this turn. Another card from I that we got given, which I really don't like the name pun on this card, but the design was pretty cool. Just all the eyes and, the male and female one creating a heart shape. It would have been a lot cooler to see Aqua and Earth, but, I guess I don't want to confirm that in this episode. Or I's personality that, we can clearly see on these cards, probably didn't want to accept that. So basically, this card is I Love Fusion. Yep, you heard it right. And if your opponent controls an Earth attribute Link monster, you can use that monster to fusion summon with. So kind of similar to Super Fusion, where you can use your opponent's monsters and your own monster to fusion summon. But this one, it particularly has to be an Earth type monster. And finally, we get Earth Golem at Ignister. Now, upon attacking, this card's original attack points are doubled. The design for this card is a typical golem design that you get within anime, but the blue looking heart-shaped symbol was a nice touch. And I really did like the fact that it was this card that helped Yugioh with the help of another one of I's spell cards. I think it's the one he used last episode, where it makes the monster's attack points the same, causes mutual destruction, but thanks to another effect of I Love Yugioh, I doesn't take any battle damage. But it's the fact that this card that kind of represents Earth, and Aqua, but mostly Earth, taking down Go was kind of symptomatic because, you know, Go's the one who took down Earth and basically led Soltec to kind of killing Go off, Earth off, as to speak. So I thought it was a nice kind of way of doing that, slash getting I's revenge and Earth's revenge at the same time. So yeah, this duel kind of concludes with I winning, and yes, I've said it before, it was predictable. But, you know what, it's just how it goes sometimes. It looks like they're running through all the fodder enemies, and then just leaving the main three, Yusaku, Soulburner, and Revolver. They're just leaving them to basically be important later on. Oh well. Now we get revealed to us that the zaizens are on a plane that I think they said is 1,200 feet or something above the city, which is different. However, I find them way too quickly for my liking. We get a small interaction between I and Pandora. Now, I've heard a lot of people say they reckon that Pandor, I said Pandora, but I meant to say Pandor, thinks that Pandor might switch to I's team. And that really can't happen, because as we see in this episode, I's tricks have no effect on Pandor. Plus, if you remember, Revolver created her with a loop function that deletes any hostility towards human beings. So once she starts thinking that humans are the enemy, then that automatically gets rewritten and discarded. So she can't possibly turn, basically. So for those of you thinking now there, I would stop. But hey, if you want to, keep on going. It's not going to do any harm to me. But yeah, we have a small interaction between those two, which leads to a duel. Now, before I talk about this sort of like little duel kind of thing, it's nice to note that Revolver basically created this scheme of having the zaizens not actually in, what's it, Den City? And instead having them in a place where he thinks I can't get to them. And that's why I say that I got to him pretty quickly, because he just magically in the real world gets a jet out of nowhere and kind of hops on board. Like, it was way too fast for plot convenience. And another thing, where's Raboppy? Is he still in the virtual world, and is going to face one of the 3 characters that are still in it? Or is he just still in the jet and I's just gone alone? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next week. Now the episode ends with the duel starting between Pandor and I. Oh, and they're on top of the plane / jet. So I'll be super disappointed if Pandor doesn't end up using the Seal of Orichalcos, because, you know, VRAINS has had a lot of kind of homages to duel monsters, and the last time we saw a on top of the plane duel was in Duel Monsters. Season 4? With Kyber and Alistair, I think, were fighting or something like that. So yeah, I highly doubt we're going to see it, but it'd be pretty cool if we do. And you know what? Revolver uses a lot of the old trap cards. Maybe Pandor might use the old spell cards. I don't know. Anyway, overall, this episode was okay. It wasn't the best. Some of the cards that were given to us were pretty cool, and I like some of the designs. But that's all I can really say that was really good about this duel. It's moving pretty quickly, which kind of leads me to believe that Ai's got something bigger planned, and it's kind of a big ruse to kind of build up to the main threat. I don't know. But yeah, this episode in particular, it was okay. Voice acting was alright for the most part. Music, yeah, okay, cool. Animation was a bit janky. I think the facial expressions and just the way that Go and I were drawn were a little bit weird. Sometimes their faces were a lot fatter than they were, or should be. Go's character design doesn't do anything for me. So, yeah, watch it if you haven't. If you like seeing Go lose, or if you just like Go or the Goki monsters at the same time, then by all means. But overall, guys, that's going to do it for this review. An average episode, and hopefully next week's will be a bit more thrilling. So then, if you've enjoyed, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me, and until next time, I hope you'll have an amazing day, and well, keep it anime. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.